Welcome to Tribe Builders Podcast today. So today you've got just me again, Tanya Rooney, and I am going to chat today about some things that just kind of are on my mind. And I guess that's the beauty of having a podcast is that you get to do stuff like that, which is pretty exciting for me, honestly, because I like to ramble about things. And sometimes they're just with my husband, but I guess getting to have a podcast, you get to do that sometimes too. I actually have a topic for today. And full disclosure, it is Monday, January 6th. This is coming out Tuesday, January 7th, and I didn't have things done. And I'm admitting that right now because I want to be authentic, that sometimes it is hard to get somebody to record something. And I didn't do the extra work to make sure there was somebody already on the schedule. So I'm without a podcast episode. So today I had a full day of meetings and now it's late at night and I'm thinking, wow, I committed to having this out every Tuesday morning. We put it out really, really wee early hours kind of thing. And I decided that I was just going to hop on here and actually talk about that. One of the lessons I've learned, this is stuff about integrity. And it's so interesting because everybody has, what they think integrity means. The definition of integrity, like per the dictionary, the Oxford Language Dictionary, is integrity means the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles and moral uprightness, as well as the state of being whole and undivided. And the reason I'm talking to you guys about integrity today is because I had a training recently where we talked a lot about integrity. It was a 3-day training. It's a lot of hours. There's a few breaks here and there, but the kind of radical accountability with this training was so amazing. It was right up my alley because I think about the things that we do and how we show up, and they had a higher standard for what showing up meant. So whenever the clock started, whenever it was supposed to, be done with break, they, say on camera and on time. Like those are the two things that they preached. They preached it in the first 3-day weekend training that I did and the second 3-day weekend training. And I find it to be so interesting how we think about words like that, and integrity is like a big one. And how we show up. And then the more training I got, the more thoughts I've had around this word. And it's actually going to be one of my words this year. Like I've got 3 of them, but integrity is one of them. And it's about how I show up in my life to myself, to my family, to anybody that's crosses paths with me. And I think my thoughts about this word have morphed so much over the last few years. Like I bet 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I didn't really think about the word integrity. I had a job, I did what I needed to do, whatever. But once I started to getting into entrepreneurship, like the people that I followed and the people that kind of mentored me becoming an entrepreneur the way that I have, a lot of them talked about words like this, and they talked about the things that we base our business off of, like, so our core values and what those look like. And I learned a really cool exercise on figuring out 3 people you really, really look up to in life, and then writing out everything about them that makes you go, that's why I think they're such a good leader, they're such a good mentor, they're such a good person to follow. And then you look at those 3 different people and all of those qualities that you wrote down, and you can actually pick out the things, because there's typically a theme that you'll have personally. It's like it's one of my favorite exercises. I'll actually type it up and put it in the show notes, or at least a link in the show notes for you guys to see. But essentially, you look at those lists and you'll see the themes, the things that you care about, because the likelihood is the 3 people that you look up to most have very similar attributes and characteristics in their personality, or the things that you see in them. And then that's going to actually shine a light on what you care about. And once I started doing, once I did that exercise with one of my mentors, I realized, the words that mattered to me, and integrity was one of them, a few years ago when I started doing stuff like this. And I think I don't know. I could not tell you actually what I thought of the word integrity, but I knew it meant a lot to me. And it just meant like showing up for clients. Like I was buying houses and I wanted to go into a house with integrity and make sure that those people were being treated with respect and that, whatever troubles they were in, I wanted to buy their house. Yes, for me, because I was going to make money, but it was also supposed to be a win-win. Like I wasn't out to take advantage of anybody. We didn't make hundreds of $1,000s on any houses or anything like that, but it was just like making sure I was showing up and with what I thought was integrity. And now that I've done these trainings, I have realized how much more I want it to matter in my life and how much more important it is to me. And I think the perspective shift for me was showing up for yourself with integrity that I've never really thought about that. So I'm talking about all of this right now because I'm asking people to build their tribes. Obviously, that means a lot to me and like how you show up in life and everything. But I was just thinking a lot more about last week's episode about habits and how a lot of people have these habits. And I even had a conversation today with somebody via text that they wanted to make some changes, and they were hoping that whatever changes they wanted to make would stick this year. Like, and after having a weekend like I did, where we went over so many things, I just kind of realized how intense the stories we tell ourselves are and how much sway they have over us. Because if somebody wanted to live with true integrity, it doesn't mean you can't make mistakes and things like that. Like that's not what I'm going for, because I don't think a perfect person exists. But if you think about the integrity you show up with the statements that you make, especially for yourself, like I want to start out with like integrity with myself and then integrity with people around me, integrity with my family and my clients and my guests and my business partners and that kind of stuff. Um, it's such a different perspective that I gained, that how I show up for myself, like integrity of literally hitting the snooze every morning, what that looks like what my life has looked like the last few years. I've gotten really complacent in a lot of the things that I do, and I think I just kind of realized that I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have integrity for myself first and foremost, and then I want integrity to you know reign over everything that I do. And what that means to me is, waking up, and if I commit to something, like actually doing those things. It doesn't matter if you don't want to do those things. You still need to show up for yourself. So if that means in 2025 I'm going to treat my body better, because that is my intention, that means like waking up and doing the stuff that I need to start my day, and then making choices every day with how I feel my body with integrity. Like I said that I wasn't going to have gluten this year. I want to tone it down on sugar, or like essentially I just want to have natural sugars this year. So I don't want to have added stuff, no caro syrup, corn syrup, no processed sugar, like any of that stuff. So it's showing up for myself because I made a commitment to me, and then showing up to that commitment every single day and making choices that I know this is better for my body and it's better for me and my mind. And there's so many people out there that we're just like, yeah, I mean, I could do that, or I could just have this bagel with cream cheese that's also got sugar on it. Like that sounds so fun. But thinking about the way we commit to ourselves and how far off we stray, and then further, like I've talked a lot about business stuff over the last couple of years and what I want to do, and just there was a lot of, well, I think I want to, and maybe I should try this, and a lot, just a lot of like half-assed commitments to things. And I've just realized that I want to show up for myself way more. Like I want to have integrity with my word, and whether that word is for somebody else or for myself. Like if I tell a client that I'm going to show up at this certain time, like I'm going to show up on time. And just because they're paying me shouldn't mean it's different than what I do for me, because every time that I show up for myself, I'm paying myself too. Like there's a imaginary bank account that gets put into every single time I do something good for my body, I do something good for my mind, I do something good for my, health, wealth, um, just well-being, happiness stuff, like when I get to go hang out with people and I commit to going and doing that and I have fun, like that puts more dollars in my bank account for longevity and for my mood, and it just makes a difference in how I show up at other places. So I just thought that I really just wanted to kind of talk about like what integrity means. And the only thing that we have in this world is our word. Like, that is a true thing that we get to decide how we do that and how we show up and how people trust us, and what kind of responsibility we get in our day-to-day lives from other people. Like, if we say that we're going to show up on a certain time, if we say we're going to send some kind of information to somebody because we want to share with somebody, or we'll hop on a call to help them out with something, like, that stuff really matters. And I I'd give myself like a C plus with stuff like this. And it's funny because I might be being harsh on myself. I have no idea. Honestly, some people would be like, oh, you're a D minus. But I think a lot of other people might say I show up a lot, but I talk about showing up a lot, but I make a lot of commitments. So out of 100 commitments, I probably do 75 to 80 of them, which is a fucking B minus and or a C plus at best. And you think about stuff like that and how we show up in our businesses and to our families and things like that. Like, I don't like letting people down. That's definitely something that's always been a part of my life that I don't like. We'll see. I don't like maybes. If I'm giving a maybe, I'm not being authentic to you, and I'm not being authentic to myself because I actually have an answer. Because if I say maybe, it means like I'm not super interested in something. Because I grew up in a we'll see household, and I don't like we'll see. I don't think I'll ever like it. But yeah, just thinking of like how you show up in your business, if it's important to you, and what it means to have integrity in your actions. So I would challenge anybody that's listening to really think about what does 25 look like to you. What kinds of goals do you have, and what do you actually want to show up for? It's okay to not show up for everything. I had a conversation with somebody today that, had talked about some of the things they wanted to do, and made a comment that, I hope that I can commit to those and really start new this year. And I don't think we ever have to start new. And that's like the beauty of getting older, is that we're just building on what we already know. But I think as you get older, like, we're just in different seasons of how hard, like, life can be hard. Like, some people are taking care of one person, like themselves. Some people are taking care of their whole entire family, and that could mean kids, parents, spouse, whatever. And then some people are taking care of that plus. And how we show up for ourselves and what that looks like and how it gets interpreted elsewhere. I think it's just important to think about the integrity you want to have and then actually act on it. And further than this, like, this is going to be a short episode because I really just wanted to talk about this topic, but I also wanted to, I'm making a statement. I'm committing to something, which I find to be crazy because I commit to plenty of things, but some stuff, it makes me nervous. I don't like to commit to things if I don't think that I'll actually follow through with them. It bothers me to do that. So I do a lot of maybes, or I'm thinking about, like I had said earlier, and I'm going to commit that I'm going to start coaching people. And I've wanted to coach people for years, like a really long time. I really enjoy coaching people, and I already, do some short-term rental coaching here and there, but I don't think that's what it looks like for me. It doesn't mean I won't do that, because I friggin' love short-term rentals. I still love real estate and things like that. But I really want to help people with some like radical accountability, like no excuses kind of stuff. Like, what's something that you really want to accomplish this year, and how can I help? How can I help somebody get unstuck? And I don't know what that looks like quite yet. I hope to know in the next like 2 weeks, and I'm going to start talking about it on my social media and stuff, and definitely my emails. But I'm kind of hoping that I'll do 1 or 2 coaching calls for free a week, just to kind of get some traction and show like what I can do. And then, and maybe I'll always do that, because, some people just can't afford it or don't want to. I still find it to be, when you pay for coaching, like whenever I pay for coaching, I I'm more excited to do whatever it is that I committed to. But I would really like to at least be able to give some of it back. But other than that, like, I'm open for coaching. I want people to tell me about what they're stuck on, and I want to be able to ask really good questions and then figure it out, uncover what they're stuck on, and then get some commitments, and then take radical accountability into consideration. Like, I just followed up with a guy that I talked to maybe, within the last 6 months, who told me he was going to quit his job in January. He was going to put in his notice. So I reached out to him today, January 6th, and he is putting in his notice this Friday, which is really, really big, because I think he's been talking about quitting his job for a couple of years now. And I think a lot of people get into that, especially in real estate. They're just like, yeah, I'm going to quit someday. But, moving into a accountability format of, yeah, do you actually want to do that? And I want to help people figure out what they actually want to do. So I'm putting it on this podcast because I'm committing to this being part of my business model for the year. Is like, I'm going to take on some coaching. I'm going to have a retreat this year, at least one, if not two, potentially more, I guess, because I want to gather people. I want people to be able to build their own tribes while they're at one of my retreats. I want to add accountability after that retreat so that people can come and hang out with each other every single week and like build on whatever the heck they wanted to build on. And and then further just be able to build their own communities, be able to build their own business, and just like set the world on fire kind of thing. And not necessarily just about like profits, because profits are great, but an awesome way of life is even better. And I just want to stand for myself, and I want to stand for more people to be able to do cool things. And if that meant I could help somebody get unstuck, I think that would be the most amazing thing ever. And I don't know if you know this about me, but my goal in my lifetime is to impact 10 million people. I came up with this goal a couple of years ago in a really, really good session with a coach that I had. And I said it, and I've never felt something resonate with me more than ever, ever, ever. And I still don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm really excited about the journey of what it looks like. And I know that I will get there, which is really fucking fun to say. But I think, starting out in this space and then moving into whatever space that I need to is really great. So the one thing that I'm going to ask of you is, if you are listening and need some help or want some help, please reach out to me. You can just shoot me a message on Instagram, Tanya Rooney MN, and it's TANYA, and tell me, that you want to meet. I'll then send you my Calendly link, and we'll try to get something set up because I want to help some people. And then second, if this resonated with you in any way, shape, or form, and you thought of one person, please send it to that one person. Because I believe in the beautiful ripple effect of the coolest things that we can do when we, think of somebody else and send it to somebody, because I want this to get shared out. And then the last thing is just be awesome to somebody today. Like, go and do something cool for somebody else today. And even if that's a voice text to tell somebody you appreciate them, if it's thanking somebody for their integrity in your life, like somebody that you think holds high integrity in what they do and that, you really respect, like send them a message, text message, send them a thank you note, send them something and just say, you're freaking awesome and I really appreciate the human that you are. Like, if that's the way that I impact 10 million people, I think that'd be like the coolest freaking story. Like, the coolest way to slide into my grave would be, wow, she got all of these people to say something nice to somebody else. Oh, I think that sounds so fucking great. So, short episode today. I'm actually going to work on that in 2025 as well, as trying to tighten up these episodes. And but if there's ever content that you really want to hear about, please let me know. Like, I think there's going to be some more short-term rental stuff this year because I love it so much. But I'm happy to take this in whichever way I need to. Like, I love people that build tribes. That's still like first and foremost. But I know that we all get so many cool things done together that I just want to hear about it. So if you know somebody that'd be awesome as a guest, also let me know. But if you have any suggestions, please give me a shout. And yeah, that's it. Hope you guys have an awesome week. First full week of January is going to be freaking great. And yeah, if I can help you with anything, please reach out. Bye, guys.